The Donner Party was led by George Donner. They left Independence, Missouri in April of 1846. They wanted to make the journey west. Lured by the possibility of a much shorter journey, Captain Donner chose to take his group of 20 wagons on a shortcut through the Great Salt Desert, leaving the main group of immigrants to follow the river route to the north.
On the desert, there was intense suffering in the party. Cattle were giving out and lying helplessly on the ground in the burning sand, or were frenzied with thirst and were straying away in the desert. Several persons came near perishing of thirst, and cattle were utterly powerless to the withdrawal of the wagons. They were delayed several days, and a solemn council was held. It decided that someone must lead the train and press forward to California, obtaining a supply of provisions and return and meet the party back on the route as fast as possible. They bore letters to the party from Captain Sutter at Sutter's Fort.
They spent 30 days cutting through 40 miles of dry canyons, destroying their cattle and badly depleting their resources. When they arrived at the base of the Sierra Nevada mountains, only 70 miles from their destination, they discovered that winter had come early for the first time in 30 years, and their path was covered in snow.
When we reached the lake, we lost our road, and owing to the depth of the snow on the mountains, were compelled to abandon our wagons and pack our goods upon oxen. The cattle, unused to such burdens, caused great delay by bucking and wallowing in the snow.
They had food for only 2 months, but expecting to be rescued, they plowed ahead. They were trapped in snow near what is now known as the Donner Pass. Some of the party resorted to eating the flesh of those who had died.
When my provisions came out, I remained for days before I would taste human flesh. There was no resort. It was cannibalism or death.
Despite several rescue attempts, only about half of the 87 members of the party ever reached California.
Human bodies terribly mutated. Legs, arms, skulls, and portions of remains were scattered in every direction and strewn around the camp. I found Miss Murphy with one of her limbs sawed off, the saw still lying by her remains. The body of Captain George Donner was found in his own camp about 8 miles distant. He had been carefully laid out by his wife, and a sheet was wrapped around the corpse. This was probably the last act she performed before visiting the camp of Keysabur.